Good evening. Put your heart, mind and soul into even your smallest acts. This is the secret of success. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Saudi Arabia and United States signed agreement on short-term ceasefire in Sudan. Bahrain welcomed short-term ceasefire agreement and humanitarian arrangements in Sudan. Bahrain entered Guinness World Records for 12-hour hearing tests. Education Ministry announced special examination procedures for students with special needs and cancer patients. Crisis in any one region affect all countries, said India's Prime Minister at G7 outreach session. News in detail. Saudi Arabia and US signed agreement on short-term ceasefire in Sudan. Saudi Arabia and the United States announced that on May 20th in Jeddah, representatives of the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces signed an agreement on a short-term ceasefire and humanitarian arrangements. The short-term ceasefire, which enters into force 48 hours after the signing of the agreement, shall remain in effect for 7 days and may be extended within the agreement of both parties. The parties agreed to facilitate the delivery and distribution of humanitarian assistance, restore essential services, and withdraw forces from hospitals and essential public facilities, Saudi Press Agency reported. The parties also agreed to facilitate the safe passage of humanitarian actors and commodities, allowing goods to follow unimpeded from ports of entry to populations in need. Both parties have conveyed to the Saudi and US facilitators their commitment not to seek military advantage during the 48-hour notification period after signing the agreement and prior to the start of the ceasefire. The ceasefire will go into effect at 9:45 p.m. Khartoum time on May 22nd. The parties have previously announced ceasefires that have not been observed. Unlike previous ceasefires, the agreement reached in Jeddah was signed by the parties and will be supported by a US, Saudi and international supported ceasefire monitoring mechanism. This short-term ceasefire is in line with the step-by-step approach agreed by the parties. Bahrain welcomed short-term ceasefire agreement and humanitarian arrangements in Sudan. Bahrain welcomed signing the agreement on short-term ceasefire and humanitarian arrangements between representatives of the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces in the Republic of Sudan. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs noted Bahrain's appreciation for the Saudi and American efforts to sign this agreement within the framework of ensuring calm and ceasefire and facilitating the provision of humanitarian and relief aid and basic services in Sudan in accordance with the principles of international humanitarian law that referred in the Jeddah Declaration of Commitment to Protect the Civilians. Bahrain resumed diplomatic representation at ambassador's level with Lebanon. In implementation of the directives of the leadership, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that the Kingdom of Bahrain has decided to resume diplomatic representation at the level of ambassadors with the Brotherly Republic of Lebanon. The decision comes in order to strengthen the brotherly relations between the two countries and its people and promote mutual respect in accordance with the principles of the Charter of the Arab League and the provisions of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961. Social Insurance Organization processed pension salaries for a group of Qatwa applications. The Social Insurance Organization processed eligible retirement pension applications through the Qatwa Projects Program. This came in implementation of the directives of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to accept 236 eligible retirement pension applications. Pension salaries were disbursed retroactively to a group of approved applications that met requirements. The remaining applications are being contacted by SIO to process their pension salaries. Bahrain entered Guinness World Records for 12-hour hearing tests. Bahrain achieved a new world record in the Guinness World Records in the field of medicine. The event was held under the patronage of Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, National Security Advisor, Secretary General of the Supreme Defense Council, Royal Guard Commander. The kingdom broke the record for 12-hour hearing tests registered in the Guinness World Records, and this achievement is considered a quantum leap in the field of medicine. His Highness Sheikh Nasser delegated Major General Hamad Khalifa Al Nuaimi, Deputy Commander of the Royal Guard, to attend the Guinness World Records announcement ceremony for hearing tests within 12 hours. Education Ministry announced special examination procedures for students with special needs and cancer patients. Special correction committees will be assigned to assess the performance of students with mental disabilities and cancer patients in the final and semester examinations. The initiative, which takes into account the humanitarian conditions of these categories, aims to evaluate the students in a special way and separately from the rest of their schoolmates. The Ministry of Education has announced the procedure in response to remarks voiced by parents of students with special needs. Students with mental disabilities and cancer patients will also be allowed to attend graduation ceremonies, even if their results indicate the need to do an examination resit, said the Minister of Education, Dr. Muhammad bin Mubarak Juma. He pledged to full support to students with mental disabilities and cancer patients to enable them to achieve graduation requirements before the start of the next academic year. He announced that the ministry would set a policy for evaluating students with mental disabilities and cancer patients to be applied to these categories on an annual basis, adding that the new regulations would cover assessment modalities and curricula. Winners of the 27th edition of Bahrain Quran Grand Prize honored. The winners of the 27th Bahrain Quran Grand Prize were honored during a ceremony held under the patronage of Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, consort of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women. Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika deputized Supreme Council for Women Vice President Dr. Sheikha Maryam bint Hassan Al Khalifa to attend the event, which was held at the Gulf Hotel Convention Center. The Ministry of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments Ministry held the prize distribution ceremony in tandem with the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. The Deputy Patron distributed certificates and prizes to 89 female winners. She also honored the oldest and youngest participants, in addition to winners of other categories, as well as 9 organizations and 15 members of the juries. Supported by Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, the award-winning to encourage the memorization and recitation of Holy Quran as part of lifelong learning activities within the National Plan for the Advancement of Bahraini Women. Bahrain attended 118th Executive Council of the UN World Tourism Organization in the Dominican Republic. The Kingdom of Bahrain, represented by the Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority, participated in the 118th Executive Council of the UN World Tourism Organization held in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic during May 16th to 18th. Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority Chief Executive Officer Dr. Nasser Qaidi headed Bahrain's delegation to the UN World Tourism Organization Executive Council in the presence of over 30 countries representing member states, including ministries and high officials in charge of tourism in the member states, representatives of public or private structures concerned, destination management bodies, as well as specialized investors. Dr. Qaidi took part in plenary sessions conversing about world tourism recovery and digital transformation, where he asserted that Bahrain is one of the leading countries to witness inbound tourism recovery during the year 2022 by over 90% compared to pre-pandemic levels, outperforming the international recovery rate, which was estimated by the World Tourism Organization at a rate of 60%. Electricity and Water Authority President inspected preparations for hot summer. The Electricity and Water Authority stressed a commitment to provide necessary network supplies in partnership with major private sector firms that run power and water plants. The partnership aims to promote sustainability in the energy sector and water production, taking into account the growing needs, said AWA President Kamal bin Ahmed Mohammed. In his statement today, he stressed the need to reduce carbon emissions and mitigate environmental pollution in various projects in the Kingdom of Bahrain. He was speaking as he paid a field visit to Heath Power and Water Company and the Azal Electricity Company, where he inspected both production firms to ensure their readiness for this summer. The importance of undertaking all preparations to ensure both stations are optimally prepared to meet the soaring demand on power and water as the Kingdom of Bahrain braces for a hot summer. Heath Electricity and Water Company has the capacity to generate 929 megawatts, which is equivalent to about 18.4% of the total production capacity of electric power in the kingdom. LMRA, NPRA and Southern Police Directorate conducted its joint inspection campaign. The Labour Market Regulatory Authority conducted a joint inspection campaign in the Southern Governorate in coordination with the Nationality, Passports and Residence Affairs of the Ministry of Interior and the Southern Governorate Police Directorate. The campaign resulted in reporting a number of violations related to the labour market and residency laws and were referred for legal action. LMRA stressed its commitment to report any violation through a continuous and intensive inspection plan in cooperation with the relevant government entities. Now we will be back after a very short break. The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahala. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination. Welcome back. Saudi students bagged a record number of 27 prizes at International Science and Engineering Fair 2023. Talented Saudi students bagged a record number of 27 prizes at the region-renowned International Science and Engineering Fair that concluded in the United States of America on Friday. The 35-member Saudi team has won 23 grand prizes instituted by the competition organizations and 4 special prizes offered by local and international organizations after competing with 1,800 outstanding students representing more than 70 countries from all over the world. The region-renowned International Science and Engineering Fair 2023, the world's largest pre-college STEM competition, held at the K. Bailey Hutchison Convention Center in Dallas, Texas, during the period from May 14th to 19th. In the grand prize category, the Saudi team secured 2 prizes in the first place and 7 prizes each in second, third and fourth places. UAE firm announced Middle East's first firefighting robot. A firm in the UAE has launched the Middle East's first robot firefighter, FF Boats. An Emirati firm based in the Jebel Ali industrial area announced the first locally made firefighting robot of its kind in the Middle East, called Wabel, which means rain. The robot has world-class technical specifications and operational capabilities. Wabel is a helpful addition to firefighting departments and firefighters' efforts across the UAE and the region, as it can enhance the safety of firefighters and support them during firefighting operations. Manufacturers say it is especially useful in critical, hard-to-reach areas or when it comes to dangerous, physically demanding tasks that may compromise firefighter safety. Crisis in any one region affect all countries, said India's Prime Minister at G7 outreach session. India believes dialogue and diplomacy is the only way to deal with the Ukraine conflict and will do everything possible to contribute to resolve the situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Sunday at a session of the G7 summit attended by Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Speaking a day after his first meeting with Zelensky since the start of the Russian invasion in February 2022, Modi told the outreach session of the G7 summit in Hiroshima that crises in one region affect all countries in today's interconnected world. Each developing countries with limited resources are grappling with the profound impact of a food, fuel and fertilizer crisis. Zelensky sat between Modi and South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol at the session with the theme "Toward a Peaceful, Stable and Prosperous World." Besides leaders of the world's 7 largest economies, the session was attended by heads of 8 guest countries, including India, Indonesia and Australia. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.